Bust it.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform. My name is Amechi Anakweze. Tuesday morning in the nation's capital. Politics, political events, political developments, and not in short supply. Build up to the 2019 elections. The PDP yesterday inaugurated his campaign council for Osun governorship election. It was the turn of APC last week. The stage is getting set for Osun. With the PDP, the main opposition party, get a foothold in the southwest. At the time, the ruling APC will want to keep them permanently out of the geopolitical zone. That's the objectives of the two camps as they go into that election. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar was in Lagos yesterday. He said he just deliberately left PDP and left Lagos State for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in 2003, that he had all it takes to have grabbed that party away from the party then, not the ACN, the Alliance for Democracy, but because of the long period of political association with the Asiwaju, decided to allow him enjoy Lagos for now. We are together under the Shehu Musa Yaradua political dynasty. They were together in the PDM. They said so many of them, but he said this time around, come 2019, he may want to help the PDP in Lagos take that seat over from the APC. Now, a disappointment for several Nigerians' interest groups in the electoral process. The Electoral Act, we told you yesterday, we deliberated on it. That time for the president to sign elapsed yesterday, August 3. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Ait Enang, confirmed our fears yesterday when he said the president has refused assent, raising some issues. He called it some drafting issues and other irregularities with certain some provisions of the past amended Electoral Act. But the hope, according to him, is that the National Assembly, when they resume in a few weeks, will quickly deal with these irregularities and drafting issues and forward it back to the president to sign. It appears so simple when you put it on the table and evaluate their statements, coming out against the backdrop of the fact that the PDP is accusing the president of unduly dragging the amendment process to take so long to the extent that it will no longer be signed into law, because according to them, the president will not want the carrier to be used as the sole means of accrediting voters. The APC and the presidency have since denied it, saying the president is studying in details the Electoral Act to come out with a perfect document. Now, good news for Nigeria from China. The president still on official visit after being part of the Forum of China Africa Cooperation FOCAC. A deal between Nigeria and China was signed, $2.8 billion loan for the construction of what has been called the biggest gas pipeline project in Nigeria. A gas pipeline connecting Lokoja, Ajaokuta, up to Kano State to deliver gas to industries, homes, and possibly thermal power stations in that country. $2.8 billion. Now, our guest on this program yesterday raised concerns about the rush of Africa to China. Some critics of this administration say in the past 3 years, Nigeria's foreign debt has risen by almost 11.5 billion naira, that the Muhammad Buhari administration has indeed borrowed extra 11.5 billion, pushing Nigeria back to a debt trap, a trap we exited when former President Obasanjo, in a deal negotiated with multilateral donors, the London Club, the Paris Club, IMF, named them, paid some part of our debt, and they wrote off the remaining part, but they say we are going back. But the administration is saying these funds are going into critical infrastructure. They point out the railway projects going on across the country as treason. But the debate continues. My colleague Adebayo Boduri is with me on the program today.
You will know that several times on this program, I have spoken about lack of what seems to be lack of synergy or collaborative effort between the executive and legislative arm of government. And I always proudly refer to the period of Shehu Shagari, when there was harmony between the legislature and the executive. And how did he achieve that? He achieved that purpose because there was what was called caucusing. He has, on one part, he had regular meetings with his party members then, who are of the National Party, the Front National Party of Nigeria, NPN, and there was also periodic contact and collaboration with other parties. Several times you will see the then leader of which has the next number of people in the Senate and in the House of Representatives then, the Unity Party of Nigeria, led by late Shibabame Awolowo, Senator Odebi, the late Odebi, speaking glowingly about Shagari, because they always resolve issues behind closed doors. So by the time on the floor of both the Senate and House of Representatives, passing bills, passing motions and all the rest was so easy that we don't see friction. It doesn't mean that they were rubber stamp legislators, but because they found a way of reducing friction. If we have less than just a little over 160 days to the next round of general elections in the country, and the legal framework is yet to be sorted out, I think it's a serious, very, very, very serious matter. We may play politics, we may play anything, but I think what needs to be done. After the first one was rejected, the second one came, then the third one. What level of contact, what level of discussion took place between the executive and the legislature? That means there was none. And
Did the president not have opportunity to make inputs into the amended Electoral Act? Should the president not have sent a bill to amend the Electoral Act himself? The most important bills in the National Assembly are executive bills. Did the president send a bill? He waited for the National Assembly to initiate a bill through the other stakeholders, the Electoral Management Body and others, and now he's raising objections. If the president means well, should he not have sent a full amendment bill to the National Assembly
to reduce friction?
Observations he raised. These are some of the questions that are coming up.
Yeah, I mean, one other issue that bothers me this morning is about SIM card. The proper name for it is subscriber identification module, SIM cards. You will recall that in 2015, MTN was fined a huge amount of $5.2 billion US for allowing illegal registration.
But was later negotiated down.
And then you also recall that 4 years ago, Globalcom, Airtel, and then Etisalat, which is now named Mobile, were also fined over $100 million US for the same offense. And the information available today is that illegal registration has resurfaced again. You go to Yanya, go to Wuse Market, you will see people selling pre-registered SIM cards. And the implication of these are very, very, very grave for the nation.
Security
implication. And even for those who are buying it, it also means they don't even know what they are going into, because some of those cards were registered by people, and they could those who registered them, for instance, they might have probably even have used them for illegal means and criminal activities, and yet people are buying them. So the critical question one is asking is, is the regulatory body alive to its responsibility? The national chairman of NCC, Professor Dambata, said
Executive Vice Chairman,
rather. He said they are. But when you go to places, Lagos is even worse. There is no part of Lagos, Oshodi, Ikeja. You will see people. In fact, they even display signposts that they have.
A friend of mine.
They have already registered SIM cards to sell.
Over the weekend, a friend of mine told me how he was about to purchase a SIM card, and he was asked to register before it to be handed over to him. He provided his details, but when he wanted his fingerprints to be harvested, the machine was not forthcoming, and the seller now had to use her own fingerprint to send it across and intercepted, and it was registered. And today he's a proud owner of the Sinker. These are issues the Regulatory Agency for Telecommunications in Nigeria will address. We'll be having a guest on this program, a member of the APC, former member of the House of Reps, Solomon Edoja. We'll be bringing him in. We'll bring him in to, of course, analyze the situation in the country, especially as it affects his party, the APC, direct or indirect primaries. Now, two quick developments before we bring in your mails. We are hearing that former Minister of Education, Ibrahim Shekarau, may have jumped ships from PDP to APCs. No confirmation yet. Some media houses have carried the story as breaking news. This is one man they say will never stay in the same party with Rabiu Musa Pompo. So they made up in Shekarau's residence a few weeks ago in Abuja. It was celebrated that for the first time they have decided to stay in one party, and they will present a formidable front against Governor Ganduje in Kano State. But it appears the APC did not rest on its oars. They continue to lobby, and maybe they have succeeded. So a good one for the Ganduje camp in Kano. And in the southeast, Ike Kweremadu has said he will go again for Senate. The fifth time he will be going again. Will he succeed? He's almost ranking like the other senators you see in the United States, the likes of the late Senator John McCain, who has been in the Senate in the U.S. for more than 30 years. Will Ike Kweremadu achieve that feat? These are some of the questions. We'll take a break, then we'll welcome your mails.
Hello and welcome to the mail segment. I'm Amaka Okoro.
I'm Osaitin Yari. Welcome.
We'll begin with a mail from Ejiofor Isife from Abuja here, and he writes on party primaries and the people's will. The mail reads, "Good morning, Political Platform crew. The preparation for 2019 elections are on top gear. Political parties are adopting different measures for selection of candidates who will contest elections on their platform. Others are of the view that direct primary is a way to go, while another group supports delegate primaries. The demand for automatic tickets by some political office holders as a condition for loyalty is an attestation to the fact that party ideology has eluded us. The quest to hold onto power has made our political association lose touch with the people. Political party aspirants will stop at nothing to be in the good books of governors or any other political heavyweights in their states for party tickets. The people in this case don't have input in what is their own. For how long will a certain group of politicians dictate to the people? I waited anxiously for this nascent democracy to grow in anticipation that remarkable change will occur, especially in the areas of imposition of candidates, demand for automatic ticket, and money politics, but it baffles me to a fault that this adult democracy has introduced vote buying, which is more dangerous. God help us."
Away from that, Wale in Lagos State is writing on the person of Saraki. The mail reads, "No single politician, aside from President Muhammad Buhari, has dominated political discussion in the past 3 years like the President of the Nigerian Senate in the person of Dr. Bukola Saraki. From the shenanigans leading to his emergence as the number 3 citizen of Nigeria, to various cases hanging around his neck, the scion of Saraki dynasty has proved himself to be an excellent student of murky Nigerian politics. At the height of its powers, the old Oyo Empire had a prime minister akin to the Senate president today, named Bashorunga. There is a school of thought that believes that his cunning and ruthless activities were born out of personal aggrandizement and inordinate ambition to suppress the authority of the paramount ruler. However, some historians were of the opinion that Ga's ruthless activities were as a result of the need to tame the monumental corruptive tendencies from the royal courts, as attested to by the godlike powers that the royal fathers wielded during that period. Ga's episode, according to some literature, contributed majorly to the downfall of the old Oyo Empire. While history cannot be rewritten, the present debacle in modern Nigeria will definitely produce villains and heroes. Is Saraki's much-touted political sagacity truly an effort to entrench separation of powers and rule of law in Nigeria? or just another self-preservation mission to perpetuate policies of expediency and no ideology in the country? Time will tell.
And more on that, Chooks Okolocha in Lokogoma here in Abuja titles this one as Desperation of the Nigerian Politicians and goes further. Good morning, Political Platform crew. I have watched Comrade Adams Oshomole with keen interest and how he has exhibited his desperation over the Senate President's issue and his impeachment. If Adams Oshomole can be this desperate over this small issue, I begin to wonder what he will do if President Buhari loses 2019 presidential election. I hope Adams Oshomole would not call for mayhem because of how he has shown his desperation to please President Buhari. May God give Adams Oshomole the heart of former President Goodluck Jonathan, a heart of a good sportsman.
Shegu Akeju in Rivers State says, Dear crew members, I listened with shock on how Uju Ejeye and Amici Anakwe defended the action of Saraki in the declaration of his presidential ambition at the venue of the Not Too Young to Run event, even when the organizers felt betrayed. What kind of human beings are you? Please know that not everything is about handouts from politicians. You are selling your little remaining integrity for peanuts from politicians. How much does Saraki pay you to sell yourselves in the media?
And these are the numbers of mails we have for you on the platform today. Keep sending your contributions to us. Send them through to us to politicalplatform@raypower.fm.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We appreciate all the issues you have raised. And on the issue of focusing on development, it's always a priority. We have done it in the past and we are ready to do it again. We're focused on roads, infrastructure within the FCT and many others, but we need the cooperation of these MDAs, the institutions, the government to really get the resource persons that will come and give you details while you come up with the questions and comments. We have continued to reach out to them to also join us in partnership to bring development to the doorsteps of Nigerians, and as soon as they signify interest, we'll just continue on that line. Then it's all about economic benefits for Nigeria and the president's trip to the China. Of course, the biggest, fastest growing economy in the world, second only to that of the United States. The attention of almost every other African country has shifted or gradually shifting from the west to the east, the far east, where you have China. $2.8 billion loan for a gas pipeline project. Quite interesting. It will indeed add to the many projects, Chinese projects being executed in Nigeria. We're making efforts to reach our analyst for today, Honorable Solomon Edoja, to, of course, take us through issues happening in his party.
Yeah, Amici, I think it's a big deal from China, but I do hope that in the process of whatever we are negotiating, that we also be conscious of the fact that national interest must be supreme. The issue is that the Chinese are getting smarter. They are becoming more friendlier, and they are not targeting Africa for just for the fun of it, but because of similar opposition they are facing from the West, particularly who has a feeling they are flooding their markets with goods which are far cheaper than their own. And they are picking Africa, but Africa too must not over-rely on China. We should also be thinking of how alternatives. I used to remember those days when the late Shehu Musa Yar'Adua was next to President and was next to Olusegun Obasanjo, then military head of state. He said, Nigeria will borrow if possible, or steal technology if they don't allow us to borrow, so that we can develop. I think that is what we should also be aiming at from China. China has developed its capacity in area of textile industry, for instance. I do not see anything wrong with us. It's not the importation of textile materials from China should be attractive to us.
I agree with you. If you take a look at textile for industry, the Kaduna area, Zaria axis, 30 years ago, yes, it was booming. And 30 years ago, the local technology in terms of textile production in these areas, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano, was higher and of better quality than what you have in China.
Yes.
Today, we have stopped production, factories have closed down, and we're dependent on mass importation from China. What did China do that we did not do? Now, we're talking about Aba made in Aba 30, 40 years ago. At the same time, we're talking about made in China, made in Taiwan. They were all inferior goods. And I can tell you that the local technology in Aba was superior to the Chinese technology 30, 40 years ago. Now, China did a lot of innovations, and today they are bringing in goods, and we are readily accepting them. What of that Aba technology? What about that Newi Onitsha technology, which was superior to Chinese technology? We have to ask ourselves questions to what extent can we continue to depend on handouts, loans from people we are better than? China was all about bicycles 2, 3, 4 decades ago. Yeah. There were no vehicles. It was just a rural economy. Today there's transformation. Why should our leaders not transform our country using our indigenous technology? And I dare say, what the Chinese have are mostly stolen technology. They lack that innovation. They steal technology from across the West and try to imitate it. We still have a better, well-developed indigenous technology. Well, the funds are coming in across Africa. Most African countries are getting themselves into being entrapped by Chinese loan across the continent, including the second largest economy in Africa, South Africa. They are so much dependent on them. Angola, name it. Kenya, they just completed a rail line between Mombasa and Nairobi, the two major cities, thanks to Chinese loan. Go to Uganda, a 4-lane on each side, that's 8-lane highway connecting Entebbe with the main Entebbe airport with the main city, all thanks to Chinese loan. Go to the Ethiopian Boeing International Airport, built beautiful terminals thanks to Chinese loan. 4 airports in Nigeria, their terminals up in Port Harcourt, Kanu, Lagos, and Abuja, thanks to Chinese loan. So across Africa, we are getting to a point where we will be beggarly and solely dependent on China, and they will then be able to indeed dictate the terms of our economic relationship.
Yeah, they will, because a few years ago I was in the Niger Republic, and I saw a very beautiful stadium in the capital. And I said, oh, this is a magic in the desert. And somebody said it's the Chinese that donated it to the government in Niger. And what did they do later? They gave them loan to build the refinery. So they are tying their hands. They first come, maybe like the missionaries of those days who first came preaching to us, and much later they took over. They make incursions, and they took over administration,
political administration,
commerce, and almost everything. And I think it seems as if the Chinese are employed. There's virtually no country in Africa you go to today. Even look at even the headquarters of African Union
in Addis Ababa was built by China,
by Chinese
funds.
So they come as friends, and then later on they start giving us loan, and one way or the other there is no free loan.
Yes, for now they say we are partners with Africa. We accept that partners. They are not like the West that will attach conditions and conditionalities. But I can tell you, there is no free lunch. Even in Freetown, the capital of Sierra Leone, you can't get a free lunch. It's a great gift. Once you're collecting, one day you pay back. A man continues to present a gift to a lady, one day there'll be payback time. So we should get ready for the payback time and know the consequences ahead. Yes, we can continue the loans, the infrastructure coming in. It's not that we're not saying it should be stopped, but we should take a look at the wider picture, the wider implication, and make contingency arrangements to continue to secure our independence.
Yeah, particularly developing our economy, either we steal or borrow technology in such a way that we can recreate. Apart from the civil service, the Nigerian railways, the third largest sector that was employer of labor some 30, 20, 40 years ago was the textile industry. Now today they are dead. And so if we are going to steal or borrow technology, we must be able to recreate
or develop indigenously. We have them here.
So that we can create room for massive employment of Nigerians who are roaming the streets several years after graduating.
Go to Oka, the blacksmiths there can manufacture illegally any gun. The locally made guns we talk about, they are not much worse than what we have elsewhere. It's just that we couldn't develop that indigenous technology in Oka. There are many blacksmith shops across Nigeria that can produce guns. Why our DICON, Defense Industrial Corporation, is in Kaduna?
In Kaduna.
The one the government set up, using foreign technology to manufacture weapons.
That is now producing furniture.
They are producing furniture instead of weapons. Yet the indigenous technology being driven by some people, are churning out guns, and we have folded our hands. I think it boils down to the rent. The Federation Accounts Allocation that we come every month in Abuja to collect money. It has stifled initiatives, and we have become what God never intended us to be. The much we can take on today's edition, of course, we just want to share these concerns with you. Yes, the loans should continue flowing, but we should be wary of it. Join us tomorrow after I must have sent your mails. Please do send them. On behalf of my colleague Adeba about the production crew, my name is Amichana. We do enjoy your day.